welcome to Classic Rewind. Today my project is going to be the fender with the clearance of the wheel to the fender. So what we do a lot in the resto mod industry is we start putting in larger tires and lowering the car, and a lot of people don't realize that when you lower the car and you put wider tires, there's a clearance that hits the fender in here. And a lot of builders don't talk about it. I don't want to say names and stuff like that, but they don't show you what you need to do to get that little extra clearance. If you look at Kevin Hart's GTO, you could actually see that they did it. They go to the fender and they make it go straight down instead of curve in. What they did is they curved the fender in towards the tire just to give it that little detail. So in order to get wider tires, and when you turn, the ratio gets narrower, so therefore it will hit the fender if you're not careful. Now there's 18-inch tires on here now, and I'm going to show you, I'll bring you down here and show you exactly what's going to happen when you turn this wheel. It clears the fender now. So if you want to put 19-inch tires, or if you want to put a different tread depth tire, it will hit the fender, and I'm going to show you how close it gets. So I'm going to bring you down here and show you exactly what this is. So again, this is Harry from Classic Rewinds. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'm going to bring you down here and show you exactly what I'm talking about. You see how that fender curves in? When it comes down, it swoops towards the tire. So what they end up doing on these resto mods is cutting it back like right along that edge, and they pull this fender in a little bit more, and it gives you a lot more clearance so you can put a wider tire. So if you look over here on the front, it goes actually straight down. So you might want to bend this a little bit if you want. Right here it protrudes out about 3 degrees. Right here you can see the shadow. You could hammer and dolly that to get that extra 1/4 inch or so, or 3/8 of an inch. But I'm going to show you what this looks like over here when I turn the wheel. Right there, I turn the wheel, and as you can see, the distance right here, you see how drastically that changed? I'm going to get a tape measure and show you. Now, let me pull this tape measure out and show you. Right now, I have about 1 inch from hitting the tire. Okay, actually a little closer. Yeah, right there. See, that's about 1 inch from it hitting the tire. And these tires are right there, 245, 45s, R18s. And if I go with a 19-inch tire, that will definitely hit unless I get the super low profile tires. But what happens is, all you have to do is relief cut this right here and push this in, and therefore you get a wider tire. Now in the front, look at all that clearance. So you shouldn't have a problem there. And I'm going to turn the wheel and show you what that looks like. This is the front of the tire, and just like the back, right now you have about 1 inch space right here. So that being said, you might want to do it on the front as well, but if you take your hammer and dolly, like I said, this protrudes out a little bit. You could get that extra 1/4 inch where you shouldn't have a problem. But if you want to be safe, you can do that. You can cut the back here and push this in a little bit. But that's a lot of work to gain a 1/4 of an inch. But most of the time, they do this to the back of the fender, because when you're turning your wheel, obviously the opposite side will have that same situation. So you want to go look on the other side? See, this is the other side, and you still have that same clearance issue, which is about an inch right there. So, and I got the same tires on the front. So that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this fender like right over here just to get that little bend and get that out of there, just to give me more space and more of a different stance look on the fender. So let's start doing that. Okay, first thing first is I want to make sure I get a straight line detail right over here. In the back, you're not cutting, I forgot to mention, the inner fender. The inner fender actually comes down to about here, and then it curves back. So this is actually all by itself without any obstruction in the back here. So that being said, my first cut I'm going to make is from the bottom, and I'm going to bring this all the way up like this. And I just want to see how that's going to play out when I hammer it back and make it semi-straight. I don't want to go too straight because then it's going to look odd. I just want that little curve, but not as much as it is now. So I know it's a lot of work to go through, but I think at the end of the day, it's really going to look sharp. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut from the bottom right here all the way up like that. Oop. All the way up like that. And by doing so, I want to keep this seam in order, right? So when I cut it to that point, I'm gonna overlap it and see how much I actually have to go to get this almost straight down, plumb with this part of the fender here. So all I gotta do is that little cut, and I'm gonna get started on that. I have my cutting blade here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut, like I said, right here all the way up to this edge, I'm calling it an edge, which is, it's the body line. So when I get to that body line, I'm gonna stop, because that's where I want the this angle, because this body line continues through this trim piece right here. I'm calling it a trim piece, but it's probably like 15, 20 degrees. Goes in, and then it goes 90 degrees off of that. So what I'm gonna do is cut from the bottom up to that point. Let's get started. Already there's tension on the fender, so it's starting to kick out. So I got to be very careful the way I do this, because I cut right about here. I got another halfway to go. So let's continue on. I'm going to take my time. So yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Okay, so gotta cut a little bit more. I don't want to cut the inner fender, so I got to be very careful. Okay. All right, so that's good. So all I gotta do is put a pie cut in here just so I could push it in. That's what I'm trying to do. So you can understand what I'm doing is I'm gonna put a cut here and then I'm gonna move this tire over so I have enough room to tap and bang and bring this inwards. And all I wanna do is move it over maybe a 1/2 inch, maybe. So I don't wanna stress this too much, but I have to cut probably a little bit more just to get that extra bend that I need. But yeah, that's all I need really to do, and it moves pretty easily. So I just want to figure that out, that cut. So I got a little bit more to do, and then we're pretty much start using the hammer. Okay, so let's move the wheel. Okay, so that's that. So that's like I said, that's where it's gonna hit right there. And I'm just moving this out of the way so I have enough room to tap. So let me turn the camera off, figure out exactly what I'm gonna do here. I made my cut, so now I gotta determine my pie cut, okay? So if you push this in, what I did is I pushed this in over the fender just so it lays like that. And I'm gonna clamp it like right here. Okay, now that should give me more space, and it's almost straight coming down like that. So let's see how much room that gave me. Oh yeah, it almost gave me another 1/2 inch. And that's just making a little cut, kicking it over, and all I gotta do is figure out where I want this now, and then I gotta just cut it so I can tack weld it and bring it back. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna bring you down because I know it's a little hard to see in the camera because everything's gray. So I'm gonna bring you really close so you could see exactly what I'm talking about. Right there is where I made my cut, and I pushed it in so you could see how much I moved it. And right now that looks like it's pretty straight. But if you look at it from back here, it still has that little curve, and that's pretty much where I want it. But you could see right here, it actually bulges a little bit. I don't know if you could see that in the camera. But that right there, I could get rid of that with my hammer and dolly, and that would be fine. I think that's where I want to go. I could go a little more. Let me show you. Right now, I am about 1.5 inches space. Hold on, let the camera zoom in. There. I'm about 1.5 inches right now from the fender to the wheel, where before I was only 1 inch. So I gained a 1/2 inch just by moving it that little bit, which in return will give me enough space to put maybe 2 tire size higher on the car if I like. So just that little bit. I know it's a lot of work. Some people don't want to do it, but a lot of people do it and they don't mention it. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's what we're going to be doing. So what I'm going to do now is figure out exactly where I want it and figure out the angle of this, because I know it still turns a little bit from this bolt. That's going to be my reference point. So from this bolt right here, I'm going to reference this right here and figure out what that is in return, so I could do the same to the other side. I did my measurements and I figured out that I have from this bead, this corner right here, I'm going to call it a corner, where it starts turning in, I have 5/8 of an inch right here to this cut. And then from that cut to the top here, I have about, I would say, 1/8 of an inch to nothing. So I'm going to leave the bead, I'm calling it a bead, to nothing. So that's going to be my cut. So I'm going to take my grinder and cut it from right on this corner, probably a 1/16 of an inch off of that bead, and bring it all the way up to that. And then I'm going to just push this in, and then I'm going to start welding it. So that's pretty much all I'm doing to relieve this angle. Right here, you can see how it curves towards the tire. And then when I push this in like that, it's straight. So, and I gain a 1/2 inch by doing so, which in return will give me a wider tire. What I ended up doing was, so I can see what I'm cutting, I highlighted the corner where it starts bending. So I'm going to cut to the right side of that because I want that corner, so it'll make it blend with this fender. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll get back to you. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're a new subscriber, if you're a new watcher, support my channel. Give me a thumbs up, a subscribe. Anything really helps with the algorithms, so I could bring you more videos like this. So I'm going to get in here and start cutting this out. Okay. Almost. All right, so this is the piece I cut out, and then all I got to do now is just push this over and get it to give like so, and then I get to weld that all in. So it's a process. It's coming along. There's the cut. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start welding the fender right here, just to start tack welding this and bringing this closer, just like that. And in return, that'll bring my fender straight, and that'll look the way I want it to look. But right now it's flexing, and in order for me to get it to where I want it, I have to clamp and weld. So let me put you up to the tripod and figure out exactly how I'm going to do this and make it look good. And so it's actually looks good on the camera, which is, this is the hard part, especially working down here. It's kind of hard to show you exactly what I'm doing. But as you can see, this is just going to go like that, and just that little bit, and it's going to look super good. I just got done cleaning this up. I grinded where I'm going to weld, and I'm going to end up pushing this in just to get that reveal equal. So I'm going to start tack welding here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this in at the bottom. So that being said, I'm going to put you back up on the tripod so you could watch while I tack it. Now, a lot of it's going to be done right now by tacking it. See, this fender is sticking out because it's cut, so it wants to flex. You see that? So what I'm going to do is line it up to where I want it and give it a tack weld and hold that in place while I work what I need to work. But that's my cut. That's where I want it, and I'm going to move it in as I go. Yeah, this is the bad area for lighting, so hopefully you can see it. So it's just going to be just that little bit right there. Yeah, this is a hard spot to get camera views, so I apologize if it's hard to see. But for right now, that's the best I can do, so I apologize. I'm gonna move this in, get it lined up to where I want it, and I'm gonna give it a nice tack weld right in there just to tie that together. Yeah, just like that. Now I'm going to put another one down here just to get it a little closer. That's looking good. All right. So it looks like I cut, right now, it looks like I cut a little too much at the bottom. So instead of cutting 5/8 of an inch, I think on the other side, I'm gonna cut, I would say maybe a 1/2 inch, maybe light, 1/2 inch light. So again, it's all trial and error. But what I want to do is I just want to make sure that I'm not, see that's on the bottom here, it's just way too much. Because if I do end up pushing it more, it's going to kick it in and you're going to have a little dip here. So I'm going to try to work this a little bit and try to get it a little better. Before I do that, the final tack down here, I might have to build that back out. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think I have to do. So, okay, let me tack weld this. Yeah, I think that's where I want it. So now I'm gonna bring this tire to the corner. See where it is. Yep, it's about 1 3/8 inches. So I moved it over 3/8 of an inch, but I don't want to move it too much, because I don't want it to look like it flares the opposite direction, if that makes sense. So I think I'm kind of happy with where it is right now. Just that little bend, it looks actually really good. So I'm gonna finish tack welding this up, and then I'll bring the camera down here and show you exactly what I'm doing and how it looks. Yeah, here it is. I want to show you before I complete my welding. It's just the way it is right now. It's actually really nice. I got a lot of space, about 1 3/8 inches from the tire to the fender. Let's see if I get the light a little better here. There you go. How's that? And that way you can see the space in there is really nice. So that's that extra space that you have between here and here. And you got rid of that that swoop that came down towards the tire. See that? That looks, to me, that looks really good, looks sharp. It's not too much. It looks clean. So I'm gonna finish welding that all up. Yep, I got a little more to do. Tack welding. Well, when I say tack welding, I'm actually spot welding so it doesn't burn through. Once I'm done doing this, tack welding all the way up my seam, I'm gonna grind this so I could see what I missed and fill in what else I need to do. But right now it's looking really good. I'm waiting for it to cool down, so it's still nice and hot. It's hot in here, so I got a little bit more to go, and then I'll turn the camera on. I'm gonna clean this up with my grinding wheel, just so I could see what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna bring you down here and show you what this looks like. All right, here I already finished tack welding, and I started grinding right in here, and you could see everything welded up really nicely. So now all I got to do is clean that seam up. Right now, give you a couple different angles. There's one angle there, and then one angle over here, and I got to clean that up a little bit more. But you see how nice and almost straight that is. It has a little more curve. I'm going to knock that in when I'm done welding. This sticks out a little bit right here. It's hard to see, but it's right here where it sticks out. Other than that, this is pretty much done. So it didn't really take that long, but it is a lot of work. So you have to pretty much figure out how much you need to cut here. I had to cut 5/8 of an inch from the corner. I'm calling it the corner, from the top edge to out to the other side and to nothing right where this body seam is. So right now I just got to do some final grinding and make that look really nice. And then when I'm done, it still has the contour and detail of the original Fender. So I didn't mess with that. And the bead, this angle here comes all the way down. It follows that bead. That's what I wanted to weld on. So other than that, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna do some final grinding, and then I'm gonna clean it up and show you what it looks like. I find it easier to get in here and do some precise grinding when you use a die grinder with a 2-inch wheel. So I find that to be easier than using my flap wheel. My flap wheel is fast and I could get in there, but I can't really see what I'm doing. So I want to be able to really detail how much I'm grinding off with my 2-inch disc grinder here. So that's why I use this. I'm gonna do the final sanding here, and then I'm gonna make sure to see I don't have any pinholes, and if I do, I gotta come back and make sure it's welded all up. But for now, I'm gonna clean this all up so we can see what it looks like. And I'm using a DA with 80 grit just to give me that contour. So make sure everything looks good. All right, that's all done. And I'm gonna bring you down here so you could see what it looks like. I'm gonna wipe this off with a microfiber. And then before I give it a coat of paint, I'm gonna make sure I mark this all off so I don't get any paint back there and my frame at the bottom there. So I'm just gonna primer this up so you could see what it looked like when it's all done. It didn't really take that long. This video, I would say maybe if I wasn't videotaping, I'll probably be done in about an hour. So with me videotaping, it takes everything longer because I got to set up the camera and everything else. But if you like what you see here, please subscribe, please send me a like, and support my channel. But this is what it's going to look like when it's all done. Here it is. I didn't wipe it down yet, but that's the only thing that I did right there is cut along this seam and then weld it all back up. So let me just, I'm all sweaty, but anyway, this is what it looks like, all wiped down. See that? So that's what it's going to look like. I could weld, or I'm sorry, could grind a little bit more right here, but I got to put body filler along the bottom here anyway, and then this right here I got to put more filler, body filler. So I'm not going to go crazy welding this, but that came out really sharp. Just want to show you an up close right there. Came out really good. So again, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. So I'm just going to wipe this down, and that's it. So I gotta protect my frame down here and the inner wheel well, and I'm going to give it a coat of primer. And that way I'm done with this section here. I got to do the other side. And let me show you this right here. Okay, this is all cleaned up right there, as you can see. Right there, all cleaned up. And it looks good. And I have the wheel. It's at an angle, a little angle right there, so you can see. And I gained a good 1.5 inches. Let me get my tape measure here. So I gained a good 1.5 inches right there. Let me get close to you. There you go. Remember in the beginning of the video, it was 1 inch. I'm at 1.5 inches right now. So I could put another wider tire, like 19 if I want, on here, and still not have a situation where the wheel's gonna hit. And that's where it would hit if you put wider tires. Right now, these are 18s. And the wheel isn't straight, but I want to show you something. Hold on. Now the wheel is straight. So you have in the front, right there, you have about 2 inches. And in the back, you have your 2 inches. So you shouldn't hit now when you get a wider tire. And like I said, all I wanted to do was go pretty much straight down. And as you could see, it goes straight down right there. So before, it had that little curve that came in. So that's all I want to do. Little detail, no one's ever going to pick it up, but that came out really nice. And now I got to do the other side. So I'm going to put a coat of primer on here. Once I clean it up, protect the frame and the inner fender. The frame's blue. I don't want to get any paint on that. So let me do that. Here we are. It's all done and primered. I see I have maybe a little bit of touch up to do, welding right there I missed. And then maybe a little spot right there, and that has to get grinded, if you could see that. But other than that, I mean, it looks really good. Came out really nice. Might have to clean that up a little bit. Don't like the way that is, a little swirl there. But I could always do that with body filler, clean that up. But I just want to make sure that I am fine on the inside. And in order to do that, I have to pull the fender off, which is down the line. I have to make sure I welded that properly. But that's about it. So it's all done. It looks really sharp, primered, cleaned up really well. Got the nice bead there. So that's a shadow right here. It dips in. That's a little shadow from the light. Let me see if I can move that. See? Shadow's all gone. There it is. Everything looks good. But just wanted to let you know, with everything being gray, it's hard to see the body lines. And I apologize, but there's a little body line that goes right here. Let me move this light. In the GTOs, there's a body line that's right there, and it stops here, and goes all the way across along the whole door, all the way down. So I just wanted to show you that. But other than that, that's all done. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm all done with the making the wheel well in the fender wider to accept wider tires. You can go a lot more than I did. Actually, you can make it go back and bend it like towards the door of the car. It depends on what car you have. You can do this, but on the 68 GTO, 69 GTO, that fender dips out towards the tire, and when you turn the wheel and you have a larger wheel, you could hit when it goes up and down on your suspension. Now, I only wanted to do a little bit wider. I didn't like the fact that it swirled that much. I like that little detail. So it didn't take long to do, but you are messing with your fender and your body lines and everything else. And to me, it only took about an hour. If I weren't videotaping, it would be about an hour. With videotaping, it took a lot longer, probably two and a half, setting up the cameras and stuff like that. But I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you taking the time to learn how to do this. And if you have any questions, any comments, leave them below, and I try to get back to every subscriber, every question within reason. So, and sometimes I don't get notifications, and I apologize if there's a message that didn't go through. Go to another one of my videos and ask the question there and refer to the video that you're inquiring about, because sometimes I don't get the notifications. So I apologize for that. But this is all done now. I have to do the driver's side, and I'm not going to videotape that. I'm trying to keep short, to the point videos, and I appreciate you watching. Again, Harry, and this is Classic Rewind. Thank you again. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.